Hi, my name is Julia.
Hi, my name is Hyla.
Hi, my name is Eliana.
And welcome to the Dope Student Podcast.
Welcome, Alim. We're excited to have you here on the Dope Student Podcast. Could you start by telling us a bit about yourself and what led you to become the community activist and advocate?
Yeah, well, a little bit about myself, and I want to thank instructor Mr. Jared for having me here today and yourselves as students. I'm originally from Montgomery County, Ardmore, Pennsylvania, Lower Marion Township, and I went to the Lower Marion School District where Kobe Bryant went. And what led me to become a community activist is my father started a nonprofit organization, and it's titled Race for Peace Committee. So that's how I got into activism and advocating. And my father, he's originally from West Philly and North Philly. And I have my grandmother, Carol. She lives on North 12th Street, right around the corner from Harold O. Davis Baptist Church in North Philly, if you guys know where that is, in the Logan section of Philly. And that's how I got involved with activism, through my father's nonprofit.
You're involved with some amazing organizations like the Race for Peace Committee, Urban Navigation, and Men of Action, Brother of Faith. Can you share how these groups impact the community and what role you play in the events?
The way the groups impact the community is by when we have local events, either in Bucks County, Delaware County, Chester County, Montgomery County, or the city of Philadelphia. We try to get, such as you guys, like the youth. That's why I'm here today. And I asked Mr. Jared to be on this podcast to get more youth involvement with our events. We already have a lot of youth, but then it's good to reach out and branch out to other areas of Philly, because most of the events, they've been like in the Logan section where my grandmother lives. And then now we're here in Northeast Philly in Mayfair. And so what the Urban Navigation specifically does is they want to stop youth gun violence. So some youth, they have possession of a gun and they do illegal activity with guns and drugs and stuff like that. And I don't like to see that, certain things in the news and covered in the news with youth involvement of drugs and criminal activity. So that's what Urban Navigation tries to do. And Men of Action, Brothers of Faith, what they try to do is they have like Thanksgiving events, Christmas Day events, and they give out giveaways and stuff like that. And they also have sporting events like basketball out in Delaware County at the Darby Recreation Center.
Reducing crime and gun violence in Philadelphia is one of your main goals. What are some specific strategies or approaches you believe can help get guns out of young people's hands and create a safer city?
What can get guns out of young people's hands and create a safer city is like when you guys had to guess local state representative, council members, senators, Congress, stuff like that. It's really up to them, our elected officials, to get these guns off the streets, because they can make the rules and the regulations and make the change through policy in the legislative government that they represent. So when you guys had the politicians on here, they're the ones that can really stop it and put a real impact on it. Me, as an activist and advocate, I can voice my concern and do stuff like that, but technically I can't make the rules such as a politician can.
You've mentioned the importance of positive interactions between youth and police. What are some examples of these interactions can happen, and what impact do you hope they'll have?
The impact that the organizations hope will have is more youth involvement, but then sometimes with youth mindset, what do you guys think of the police right now? What are your thoughts, if you can say? What do you guys think about police officers in general and cops, basically?
I don't know a lot about it, honestly.
Honestly, I never hear nothing about police no more.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Okay, well then, basically more positive youth mindset for police. Some youth will disagree with that, especially at the high school level. They say, I don't like 5-0, I don't like cops, you know what I'm saying? The ops, you know what I'm saying? So we try to get a better, positive youth mindset, basically, and a more positive attitude towards our police officers. That's the end goal.
Bridging the gap between the police and the community is a major theme in your work. What are some of the biggest challenges you face in making the connection, and how have you worked to overcome them?
The biggest challenge is when we have events, not having a good amount of attendance. So the more people that come out to events, that's the better result. So then the more people you reach and the more people that actually listen to you, that's the better result. So that's been the challenge, basically. When we have events, we want to at least have 50 to more people there, not 20 or less, just to fill a basketball team, basically. We want to really fill a football team. So having events and having more youth interaction and more youth participation, that's been a challenge so far. But then COVID happened too. But then gaining more people has been a challenge, and then that's basically it. Yeah.
For students who might be interested in following a similar path, what advice would you give to someone starting out in a community activism? What qualities or mindset do they need to succeed?
The quality and mindset they need to succeed is being very punctual, being on time. If you want to set up a meeting with a local elected official, make sure you're on time and you schedule it properly. And then sometimes you have to go through the proper channels too. Sometimes you have to get permission and approval to set up certain meetings with certain officials. And sometimes the challenge is they might be busy on their end and the meeting can't get set up. And then also with sometimes if you want to put your name out there and you want to get certain news coverage and get more publicity, that can also be a real challenge, like CBS 3, 6 ABC, NBC 10, Fox 29, PHL 17. You have to really put some oomph into it and have a real strategy and a method of how you're going to get news coverage and how you're going to reach people. Sometimes you can't just make up things out of the air. It has to be set and concrete. So when my father, when he started the Race for Peace, I said, that's great and all. And then he said, but then also I'm going to do it through the IRS and get it legitimized like a 501c3. And that goes back to having the proper paperwork. So it's just going through the proper channels and making sure you have some type of goal as an activism and why are you doing it, so people will listen to you and your peers and stuff. They're going to want to know, well, why are you doing that? And then they want to know the reason and your feelings behind it, your true feelings. You can't just put on a front. Like me, I really want to stop the gun violence, and take guns off the streets. So you have to have some type of area and some type of mindset of what you're really going to try to do out there. And then people have to believe you too. You have to be enthusiastic with it. So that's what I'll say for that.
Can you share a bit about your journey so far, some key milestones in your career, and what a few lessons you've learned along the way?
Some key milestones are able to participate in events and getting news coverage that I thought I deserved and stuff like that. That's been a milestone because it's tough to get on the news sometimes. And actually, how sometimes you feel like you're not being heard and no one's listening to you? You want to get more Instagram followers or TikTok and all this stuff, gaining more revenue and more gaining more followers and stuff like that. That's been a milestone. And then participating in Men of Action Brothers of Faith events, that's been a milestone too.
How do you think it benefits young people to be exposed to real world experiences like that you worked on? What impact does it have on their understanding and career choices?
When we have events and then for activism and advocating and real world stuff, we're in the real world right now. What just happened was the election, Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. That's the real world. And then as an activist, sometimes what I do is I write letter to the editors or opinion editorials in the newspapers, like the Philly Tribune and stuff like that, and then get my word across and on how I feel about what just happened. That's real world experience. So gaining real world experience with youth, you would know exactly what to do and know exactly what you're walking into basically in the real world. Because the real world, sometimes everyone has different opinions. You have Republicans, you have Democrats, or you have neither. And then you have some people that want to vote and some people that don't want to vote. So then you're going to run across different type of people, and everyone has a different mindset. And you have to learn how to adjust and make sure you're neutral between both parties, basically, if that makes sense to y'all.
You probably have some memorable interactions with youth at your events. Is there a particular moment or lesson from working with young people that really stands out to you?
A particular moment is when we had the police versus the youth basketball game at the Darby Rec in the Lower Marion High School Kobe Gymnasium. Seeing the police play with the youth, such as in your age group, middle school, high school students and stuff, that's good to see because it shows, especially young black men and brown young men and stuff, and it shows that the police can get along and there's no tension and there's no, a different type of madness vibe or something, and that's what I like to see, and that's been nice to see.
Lastly, Alim, tell us something fun or surprising about yourself. We heard you were in the honors English in high school. Any chance we'll see you publishing your own book someday?
My own books, not my own books, but I do like to write and like letters to the editors. I do that almost on a weekly basis and monthly basis. And I write a lot of letters to the editors. So then if you read the Philly Tribune or the Northeast Times, the Philadelphia Review newspapers, that's where my letters are. And I like to write like short 250 to 500 words type papers. That's what I like to write.
Thanks so much for joining us today at Alim and for sharing your inspiring work with us. Where can our listeners follow you or the organization you're involved with to support and learn more?
Yeah, the Facebook page is at RFPC Social Media, and the Instagram page is the same thing at RFPC Social Media. And then Men of Action Brothers of Faith Facebook page is MOABOF on Facebook, and then Urban Nav, URBANNAV on Facebook.
Thank you for watching another Dopes in Podcast episode.
Bye.